My girlfriend texted, "I crashed your car drag racing. It's totaled, but I won $500. Faced with tears of joy, my restored 1967 Mustang, worth $85,000. I replied, "Congratulations." Then I filed an insurance claim, a police report, and a civil suit. When her winnings got seized as evidence. I, 32 male, am a diesel mechanic for a fleet trucking company. 45 hours a week under rigs that weigh more than most people's houses. It's honest work, it pays the bills, and it gave me exactly one luxury in life, my 1967 Ford Mustang Fastback. I need you to understand what this car was before I tell you what happened to it. I bought the shell when I was 19 for $3,200 from an old man who'd had it sitting in his barn under a tarp since 1988. It was rough. Rusted quarter panels, seized engine, interior that looked like mice had been running a small civilization in it for 2 decades. Most people would have seen a pile of junk. I saw the car my grandfather had on his wall in a photograph from 1970, him leaning against the fender with a cigarette and a grin, the year before he shipped out and never came back the same. I spent 11 years restoring that car. Not paying someone else to do it, doing it myself in my garage, nights and weekends, while working full-time. I rebuilt the 289 V8 by hand. Sourced period-correct parts from swap meets and online forums. Learned metalwork to fix the body panels. Painted it myself. Highland green, 3 coats, wet sanded between each one. Did the interior in black vinyl, factory pattern. Every bolt, every gasket, every wiring harness me. 11 years. Roughly $34,000 in parts and materials over that time. The appraised value at completion, certified by a classic car specialist, was $85,000. I had it insured through a specialty collector vehicle policy for that amount. I drove it maybe twice a month, weekend cruises, car shows, the occasional drive just to hear it run. It lived in my garage under a fitted cover. I had a moisture monitor in the garage. I'm that guy. I know I'm that guy. I don't care. My girlfriend and I had been together for about 2 years. She knew what the car meant to me. Everyone in my life knew what the car meant to me. It wasn't a secret. The first time she ever saw it, she said, "It's pretty," and then asked if I could sell it and put the money toward a house. I laughed because I thought she was joking. Looking back, she was not joking. She drove a 2019 Nissan Altima. Perfectly fine car. Reliable. I'd done her oil changes and brake pads myself to save her money. She had her own vehicle. There was zero reason for her to ever need mine. Now, I did let her drive the Mustang once. About 8 months ago. We went to a car show together. She asked to drive home. I said okay. She drove it fine. Careful. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. In hindsight, I think that one time created a sense of entitlement in her head that she had standing access. She did not have standing access. She had a spare key because she had a spare key to my house, and the car key was on the same ring. That's it. 3 Saturdays ago, I was at work pulling a double shift. Overtime. The kind of Saturday where you're covered in gear oil and counting the hours until you can go home and microwave something. At 11:43 p.m., I got a text from her. "Babe, OMG, don't be mad, LOL. I crashed the Mustang drag racing, and it's totaled, but I won $500. Faced with tears of joy, faced with tears of joy, faced with tears of joy, we can fix it, right?" I read it 3 times. Then I read it a 4th time because my brain genuinely could not process what I was seeing. I called her. She picked up on the second ring, laughing. In the background, I could hear people talking, music, that unmistakable sound of cars revving. She was still at the scene. "What did you do?" Okay, don't be mad. So my cousin was having this thing out at the airstrip, and someone bet me $500 I couldn't beat this Charger, and I was like, my boyfriend has a Mustang, and you took my car to a drag race. It's not a big deal. I'll pay to fix it. You just told me it's totaled. Well, like, the front is pretty messed up, and the radiator thing is leaking. But still runs, I think. It made a weird noise when I... Stop talking. Send me your location. Do not move the car. Do not let anyone touch the car. She sent me a pin. I left work mid-shift, explained to my foreman what happened. He told me to go. I drove 38 minutes in my truck to reach this access road next to an old municipal airstrip. the kind of place where people set up illegal drag races on weekends. I'd heard about it, but never been. When I pulled up, my car was sitting about 40 feet past what looked like a makeshift finish line marked with traffic cones. The front end was destroyed. The hood was buckled. The radiator was cracked, and coolant was pooled underneath. The driver's side fender, the one I'd spent 4 months straightening and repainting, was pushed back into the wheel well. The front bumper was gone. Not damaged. Gone. Like it had separated on impact and was somewhere in the darkness behind me. She'd hit a drainage berm at the end of the strip. From the marks, it looked like she'd been going at least 80 when she ran out of road. She hadn't known how to slow a car with a manual transmission and rear drum brakes, because she didn't know how to drive a car with a manual transmission and rear drum brakes. She launched my car down an airstrip without knowing how to stop it. She was standing next to the car with her cousin and 2 other people I'd never met. She was holding a rolled-up wad of cash. $500. She held it up when she saw me like a trophy. I won, though. I looked at the car. I looked at the cash. I looked at her. "Congratulations," I said. Then I walked past her, took photos of every angle of damage with my phone, flash on, timestamp visible, got back in my truck, and drove home. She called me 9 times on the drive. I didn't answer. When I got home, I went to the garage where the car should have been, stood in the empty space for about 2 minutes, and then I sat down on the concrete floor and just stayed there for a while. At 1:30 a.m., I filed an online police report for property damage. I described the incident, noted the illegal drag racing, included the location pin she'd sent me, and uploaded the photos. At 7 a.m. Sunday, I called my specialty insurance company's claims hotline and reported the damage. I provided the police report number, the photos, the appraised value documentation, and a full description of what happened. The claims adjuster I spoke with went quiet for about 4 seconds when I said, 1967 Mustang Fastback, Highland Green, full restoration, $85,000 policy, and then very professionally said, "I'm very sorry, sir." At 9 a.m., I called a civil litigation attorney, left a voicemail. He called me back Monday morning. My girlfriend showed up at my house around noon on Sunday. I let her in because my stuff was still at her place, and I didn't want to start a war before I had a plan. "Why aren't you answering my calls?" "I've been busy." "Busy doing what?" "Filing a police report and an insurance claim." The color drained from her face like someone pulled a plug. "A police report? You took my car without permission and destroyed it in an illegal drag race." "Yes, a police report. I didn't take it without permission. I have a key. Having a key to my house doesn't mean you have permission to drive my car. This is insane. I'm your girlfriend. I was just having fun. The car is worth $85,000. It's an old car. It can't be worth that much. It was appraised by a certified specialist 6 months ago. $85,000. Insured for the same. I have the documentation. You insured a car for $85,000? That's insane. What's insane is drag racing a vehicle you don't own and can't drive." She started crying, told me I was overreacting, told me she'd pay me back. I asked her how she planned to pay back $85,000 on her bartending salary. She said she'd make payments. I asked her how many $500 drag races that would take. She did not appreciate the math. "You're really going to sue your own girlfriend?" "I'm going to pursue every legal option available to recover the value of my property." Over 11 years of my life. She left. I changed the locks that afternoon. Not because I was worried about her, because the spare key to the Mustang was still on the ring I'd given her, and I wanted it documented that she no longer had authorized access to my property. Update 1, 10 days later. All right, so the situation evolved quickly and in directions I didn't fully anticipate. First, the insurance. My adjuster came out and inspected the car. It took him about 90 seconds to declare it a total loss. The frame was tweaked. Not visibly, but when they measured it on the jig, it was off by enough that no reputable shop would certify a structural repair. On a modern car, you replace the subframe. On a 1967 Mustang with an original unibody, the frame is the car. Once it's bent, the car is gone. He told me, professionally but with genuine sympathy, that the claim would be processed and paid out at the policy value of $85,000, minus my $500 deductible. But he also told me the insurance company would likely pursue subrogation against my girlfriend. That means they'd pay me and then go after her to recover the money they spent. Because she was an unauthorized driver who took the vehicle without permission and used it in an illegal activity, my policy covered the loss, but the insurer had every right to come after her for reimbursement. I want to be clear, I didn't ask them to do this. This is standard procedure when a third party causes a covered loss. The insurance company protects its own interests. I just happened to benefit from that alignment. Second, the police. The report I filed got assigned to a detective who apparently handles vehicle-related cases. He called me on Tuesday to get a formal statement. I told him everything. She took the car without my explicit permission, drove it to an illegal drag racing event, and wrecked it. He asked if I wanted to press charges for unauthorized use of a vehicle. I said yes. He told me something I expected. Mr. My last name, I want to be straightforward with you. Cases like this, between romantic partners, shared living situations, they're difficult. The DA may not pursue criminal charges because she had a key and there's an argument for implied access. I told him I understood, but I wanted the report on file regardless because it supported both the insurance claim and the civil suit I was filing. He said that was smart. He also noted that the illegal drag racing was a separate issue that could carry its own misdemeanor charges regardless of our relationship. Third, and this is the part y'all are going to love, the $500. My attorney, great guy, dry sense of humor, drives a Camry, and seems vaguely amused by anyone who cares about cars, filed the civil suit on Thursday. We were suing for the full replacement value of the vehicle plus restoration costs plus court fees. In the filing, we specifically noted that she had profited $500 from the illegal activity that destroyed the car, and we requested that any proceeds from the illegal drag race be considered part of the recovery. Now, in practical terms, $500 against an $85,000 loss is nothing. But symbolically, in the court's eyes, she didn't just destroy someone's property, she profited from it. She entered someone else's vehicle in an illegal race, won cash, and then texted the owner about it with laughing emojis. That's the kind of detail judges remember. The $500 also became relevant to the criminal side, because when the detective followed up on the drag racing angle, he asked if she participated in organized illegal racing for money. When she admitted she'd won $500, that shifted the situation from reckless driving to potential illegal gambling adjacent to an unauthorized vehicle operation. The $500 was flagged as possible evidence, not technically seized in the dramatic sense, but she was told to hold on to it and that it might be relevant to proceedings. She lost her mind. Her cousin, the one who'd organized the drag race, called me. I'd met this guy twice. Both times he'd been wearing a flat brim hat and talking about his Subaru WRX like it was a spacecraft. Bro, you need to chill with the legal stuff. It was just a race. Cars get wrecked all the time. Not my car. She's family to me, man. You're hurting her. She destroyed 11 years of my work. It's a car, dude. You can build another one. I hung up. I actually hung up. Because if I'd stayed on that call another 10 seconds, I would have said something I couldn't take back. Then came her mother. Oh, her mother. This woman called me on a Saturday morning at 8 a.m. I'd met her several times. She'd always been pleasant enough, in that way where you can tell someone is being pleasant because they've decided to be, not because they naturally are. I'm calling because my daughter is a wreck, and I think you owe it to her to at least have a conversation. Ma'am, there's a pending legal matter. I've been advised not to discuss it directly. Legal matter. Over a car. Don't you think that's excessive? The car was worth $85,000. I don't care if it was worth $1 million. You don't sue someone you love. I don't love someone who destroys my property and laughs about it. She made a mistake. She made a choice. Multiple choices. She chose to take my car without asking. She chose to drive it to an illegal race. She chose to enter it in a competition she didn't know how to finish. She chose to text me about it with laughing emojis. None of those were mistakes. They were decisions. You're going to ruin her life. She's going to face the consequences of her actions. Those are different things. She called me cold. She called me vindictive. She said her daughter deserved better. I agreed. She did deserve better judgment than she'd shown. We were apparently not talking about the same thing. The next day, her mother tried a different angle. She called my mother. My mother. The two had met at a barbecue I hosted the previous summer. Apparently, her mother cried on the phone and told my mom that I was destroying her daughter over a stupid old car, and couldn't she talk some sense into me. My mom, retired ER nurse, 5'2", takes zero nonsense from any living human. Called me afterward and said, I told her that you spent 11 years building that car and that her daughter shouldn't have touched it. Then I wished her a good afternoon and hung up. Do you need anything? I made chili. God bless that woman. Update 2, 4 weeks later. The legal machinery started grinding, and it ground hard. Let me break down the 3 tracks that were all running simultaneously, because this is where the consequences started stacking on top of each other. Track 1, the insurance subrogation. My insurance paid out the claim. $84,500 after the deductible. That money hit my account on a Wednesday, and I sat in my truck during lunch and stared at the deposit notification for about 5 minutes. It wasn't enough. $84,500 doesn't replace 11 years of weekends in a garage. It doesn't replace the sound of that specific engine turning over. It doesn't replace what that car meant. But it was the financial piece handled, and I was grateful for it. What my ex didn't realize yet was that the insurance company was now coming for her. They assigned their own recovery attorney to pursue subrogation. This wasn't me suing her. This was a multi-billion-dollar insurance corporation suing her to get their $84,500 back. They sent her a formal demand letter about 10 days after the payout. I know this because she called me screaming, "Your insurance company is suing me for $84,000, $84,500. And technically, they're seeking recovery, not suing. Yet, this is your fault. This is their standard process when an unauthorized person causes a covered loss. I can't pay $84,000. I make $31,000 a year. I know. So what am I supposed to do? Get a lawyer?" She hung up. I think that was the moment it actually hit her, that this wasn't going away, that it wasn't going to be resolved by crying or having her mother call people. A corporation was after her now. Corporations don't care about tears. Track 2, the criminal case. The detective followed through. The DA's office reviewed the case and, as predicted, declined to pursue unauthorized vehicle use charges. The relationship angle made it murky. She had a key. She'd driven it before. The implied access argument was enough to create reasonable doubt. I was disappointed, but not surprised. My attorney told me it didn't matter for the civil case. But, and this is important, they did pursue charges related to the illegal drag racing. It turned out the airstrip events were already on law enforcement's radar. There had been noise complaints, reports of property damage from nearby landowners, and apparently a minor accident 2 months earlier that never got reported. My police report gave them a documented incident with a named participant, photos, a location pin, and a dollar amount exchanged. My ex was charged with reckless operation of a motor vehicle and participating in an illegal speed contest. Both misdemeanors. Her cousin, the organizer, got hit with facilitating an illegal speed contest and got additional charges because he'd apparently been collecting entry fees from participants. Turns out the drag racing wasn't just casual fun between friends. There was a regular organized operation with a buy-in structure and payout system. Her cousin had Venmo records going back 8 months showing incoming payments labeled things like race entry and airstrip fee. The cousin's legal situation was worse than hers, but hers was bad enough. Misdemeanor reckless operation carries up to 90 days in jail and a $750 fine in my state. Participating in an illegal speed contest carries a license suspension and potential vehicle impoundment. Ironic since she'd already impounded someone else's vehicle into a drainage berm. Track 3, the civil suit. This is where it all came together. My attorney filed for compensatory damages covering the full replacement value of the vehicle, plus my documented out-of-pocket restoration costs. $34,000 over 11 years. Receipts for everything. I keep every receipt. It's a sickness. We also filed for incidental damages covering the insurance deductible, the cost of transporting the wrecked car to a storage facility, and my attorney's fees. Total claim, $119,700. Her attorney, court-appointed because she couldn't afford one, responded with a counteroffer of $5,000 and a proposal that she make $200 monthly payments over 2 years. My attorney actually laughed when he told me. Not cruelly, just the math was so far off it was almost philosophical. My attorney rejected it, and we moved toward a hearing. In the discovery phase, something beautiful happened. Her attorney requested documentation of the car's value, restoration costs, and my emotional attachment to the vehicle, trying to argue I was inflating damages based on sentiment. My attorney responded with, the certified appraisal at $85,000. Comparable sales data showing similar Mustang fastback selling between $78,000 and $110,000. 11 years of dated receipts, totaling $34,000. The insurance policy and payout confirmation at $84,500. And 63 photographs documenting the restoration process from shell to completion. But here's the part that sealed it. My attorney also submitted her text message. The original one. Babe OMG, don't be mad, LOL. I crashed the Mustang drag racing and it's totaled, but I won $500. Faced with tears of joy, faced with tears of joy, faced with tears of joy, we can fix it right. That text was devastating in a legal context. It established she knew she didn't have permission, the don't be mad framing. It confirmed the illegal activity. It confirmed the vehicle was totaled. It confirmed she profited. And the laughing emojis demonstrated, in the judge's words during the hearing, a striking absence of remorse or recognition of the severity of the damage inflicted. The judge ruled in my favor. Full compensatory damages. She owed me $85,000 for the vehicle, $34,000 for documented restoration costs, $500 for the deductible, $1,200 in transport and storage fees, and $4,800 in legal fees. Total judgment, $125,500. She doesn't have $125,500. She doesn't have $12,500. But a judgment is a judgment. It attaches to her credit. It can be used to garnish wages. It can place liens on future property. It follows her until it's paid or discharged. And this type of judgment, arising from willful destruction of property, is extremely difficult to discharge, even in bankruptcy. The $500 she won? It was entered as evidence during the civil hearing and was ordered returned as partial restitution. $500 out of $125,500. A drop in the ocean. But she had to physically hand over the cash she'd been so proud of winning. My attorney told me she cried in the courtroom when she turned it over. I wasn't there. I didn't need to see it. Update 3. Final, 5 weeks later. Final update. I want to close this out because I've gotten a lot of messages and I owe people a conclusion. The criminal charge is resolved first. Her cousin took a plea deal, pled guilty to facilitating an illegal speed contest, got 6 months probation, a $2,000 fine, and was ordered to shut down the airstrip operation permanently. If he gets caught organizing again, the probation converts to jail time. He also lost his own car temporarily. The WRX was impounded for 30 days as part of the sentence. I heard through a mutual acquaintance that he was using his mom's Honda Civic for a month and complained about it constantly. The irony was not lost on me. My ex pled guilty to reckless operation. The illegal speed contest charge was dropped as part of the plea deal. She got 12 months of probation, a $600 fine, and a 6-month license suspension. No jail time. I know some of you wanted her to do time, but honestly, misdemeanor first offense, no prior record, no injuries. Probation is the realistic outcome. This isn't a movie. The license suspension hit her harder than you'd think. She bartends at a place that's a 20-minute drive from her apartment. No direct bus route. For 6 months, she had to rely on rides from friends and family or pay for ride shares. At bartender wages, that adds up fast. Her cousin wasn't helping. He'd been told by his own attorney to distance himself from her case. Her mother was making the drive sometimes, but not happily. I heard her mom told mutual friends she was exhausted from being a taxi service for a grown woman. The civil judgment is where the real weight sits. $125,500 on a record. My attorney filed the appropriate paperwork to begin wage garnishment. In my state, up to 25% of disposable earnings can be garnished for a civil judgment. On her income, that works out to roughly $380 per paycheck. Every 2 weeks. Well, let's just say she'll be paying this for a very long time. Decades, probably, unless her income significantly increases. Her mother tried one last play about 2 weeks after the judgment. She called my attorney's office. Not me this time. She'd learned that much and asked if there was any way to negotiate a reduced settlement. She offered $10,000 as a lump sum to make this go away. My attorney called me and relayed the offer with the same dry tone he uses for everything. They're offering $10,000. The judgment is for $125,500. I'm aware. What do you recommend? I recommend you decline and let the garnishment proceed. A judgment in hand is worth more than a settlement that represents 8% of what you're owed. Also, the $10,000 would likely come from her mother, which means your ex wouldn't actually face any personal financial consequence. The garnishment ensures she does. I declined. Her mother reportedly called my attorney a heartless robot. He told me this with something that was almost a smile. Now, let me talk about the car. A lot of people asked what happened to the physical vehicle. The insurance company took ownership of the wreck as part of the total loss payout, standard procedure. They sold it to a salvage yard. I called the salvage yard. They told me the shell was available for purchase if I wanted it. They wanted $1,800 for it. I drove out there on Saturday, walked into the yard, and found her sitting between a crushed Dodge minivan and a strip Honda. My car, the one I'd spent 11 years building. The Highland green paint was still perfect on the rear quarters and roof. The back half was untouched. The front half was gone, just crumpled and wrong, like looking at a face you recognize, but something's badly broken. I bought the shell, $1,800. I had it towed back to my garage. I'm not going to rebuild it. I know that sounds contradictory. Why buy a wreck you're not going to fix? Because the rear axle assembly is salvageable. The transmission is salvageable. The trunk lid, the taillights, the rear bumper, the rear glass, all usable parts for a future build. And the VIN plate is original. If I ever find another 67 fastback shell, I have the mechanical heart to put in it. It might take me another 11 years. That's fine. I've done it before. The shell sits in my garage now, in the same spot where the complete car used to live. It's covered with the same fitted cover. My buddy came over last week and asked if that was weird. I said probably. He said he understood. Here's where I'll leave it. I'm out of a relationship. I'm out of a car I spent more than a decade building. I'm $84,500 richer from the insurance payout, but $85,000 poorer in the thing that actually mattered. A civil judgment with my name on it is going to follow a 28-year-old bartender for the next 20 or 30 years. Her cousin's little racing empire is shut down. Her mother thinks I'm a monster. Her friends think I'm excessive. The legal system did exactly what it's designed to do. Slowly, imperfectly, but definitively. I don't feel triumphant. I want to be honest about that. I feel like a guy whose car got destroyed by someone he trusted and who spent 2 months in conference rooms and courthouses instead of in his garage where he'd rather be. Justice doesn't feel like winning. It feels like administrative recovery. The system made me financially close to whole. It cannot make me emotionally whole. Those are different ledgers, and they don't balance against each other. Last week I was cleaning out the garage, and I found a shop rag stuffed behind my toolbox. It had Highland green paint on it from the last time I'd touched up a chip on the driver's door. About 6 months ago, I was doing it on a Saturday morning, and my ex had come into the garage with coffee and said, "You love that car more than you love me." I'd said, "Don't be ridiculous," and kept painting. I should have said yes. Would have saved us both a lot of trouble. That's it. That's the whole story. I'm going to go look at Mustang shells on the internet now. If you need me, I'll be in the garage.